I want to ask you, do you have any experience that almost led you to the point where you just hated men? Did that ever happen to you?
Oh, gosh. Have I ever had an experience that led me to almost hate men?
Yes. I want to
Ooh.
share the story and make the people hear.
Well.
You ready?
Well, my past marriage. Yes, it not hate men, but I was very cautious. Even of you, I was super cautious.
Why for that?
I was very cautious. I didn't hate men, but I was very cautious. What I hated was seeing men in suits. I started hating seeing men in suits because this guy had this thing where he wore suits all the time, everywhere, because he wanted to not be racially profiled by police officers. But I often told him,
wear suit then.
No, I often told him, thugs wear suits. What sets you apart is your character.
Conduct.
And your conduct.
Yes.
So I'm like, you can wear all the suits you want. They can sniff you out from a mile. So, but after a while, he was still crooked and wearing the suit. So I associated crooked with suits. So every time I saw a guy in a suit, I thought more than likely if he's an American, he's crooked, and worse if he's a theologian. Wow. So that was like a traumatic experience for me, but I never hated men. I remember one time I was so traumatized from the experience that I would see a new couple. You could tell when couples are new because they're all up in each other's faces, all touching each other's hand. And I'd be like, "Girl, run him. I would just be so...
No, you can't say pum pum. Well, a lot of people don't know. He just wants sex.
He just wants sex. So I would be like that. And mommy would have to tell me, hey, not everybody's the same.
Yeah, that's true.
And I remember when she was talking to me about you, I'm like, no, I don't want him. He's probably just the same. And I knew you weren't, but I just did not want to put myself in a situation. Trauma, a lot of trauma. So what led me to almost hate men, that experience. And it was not just one, it wasn't just a suit. It was just seeing the behind the scenes of how corrupt a person can be. Yeah. After a while, somebody plays nice and then the mask slips a little bit and it slips a little bit more until they stop wearing their mask when they get home. So I went through a lot of hell.
Yeah.
And it made me think that, my God, if somebody could lie on you, gaslight you, purposely try to do stuff to get you jealous. Yeah. When you don't react, they get upset at you, or in physical. Like my dad was even scared to smack me as a child. Oh. So imagine somebody putting their hands on you. It was crazy. But that wasn't the worst part. It was the mental games. It got so bad that I was like, man, I'd rather for him to hit me.
Wow.
Because the mind games were just so crazy. It was just crazy. And when you can get to the point, and I'm not condoning any form of abuse, worse physical, but emotional abuse is of such that I'm telling you, you'd rather take a punch in the face, because guess what? That will heal. But the scar that is left on your mind, it never goes away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that experience, and it's a lot to even detail in a conversation, that almost led me to the point where I loathed men.
Wow.
Yes. And you know what I think is happening? I think that the pain is being perpetuated by the few good that are in the system and then the few bad that are in the system. So the good end up with the bad, the good have a bad experience or they stay traumatized, or the good end up with the bad and then the good changes to one of the bad. Yeah. It's like a recruiting kind of thing.
That can happen.
It's like a recruiting kind of system. So you either end up bad or you end up traumatized.
I want you to say it in such a way where it can be explicitly understood.
Okay.
My understanding.
I know what you.
I don't know.
It just came to my mind a while. Yeah.
But I want you to say it in such a way where people can really identify with it more.
Okay, like a personal experience.
I want
like you rephrase it.
I want you to say it like the intellect you are.
Okay.
Right.
So, I believe what is happening in society where dating is concerned is a perpetuation of the pain and trauma. So you have people who are getting into relationships and they have the best intentions. And then you have people who are getting into relationships, they're catfishing, they're just pretending, they're manipulative, and they get into those same relationships. And what happens in those relationships, you have an empath and a narcissist, for example. The empath ends up with a narcissist, and the narcissist plays mind games on this person until they become hardened, depending on how long you've been under that, crisis, that crazy situation. Depending on how long you've been under that situation, it can either change you for the worst, or you can stay traumatized, or it can change you for the better. So I feel like this toxicity within relationships is perpetuated because, one, people are not taking the time. Two, when you enter into these relationships, you allow them to so affect you deeply that you, instead of growing from them, which very few people choose to do, you continue the cycle. So guess what? That girl that you may have dated may have been a victim of somebody that was really tough. And this person said, I'm just like, I'm cold now.
Can't catch a short.
Yo, I'm cold now. So she's like militant cold, and she's just living her life now. Or the person that I dated before is probably like, nah, I'm cold now. Instead of stopping the cycle, instead of continuing the cycle, stop it. In our situation, I went through my shakes, I went through my withdrawals, I went through my hell. I remember at one point I was scared to go outside. It was really bad.
Wow.
And I could have joined that pink pill community. I don't know if there's one, right?
Yeah, you have that community where women hate men.
Yeah, I could have joined the ranks of women that team up together and just talk.
We don't need
talk
men.
about men and say we don't need men and we're just going to do this by ourselves. I could have been a part of that community with the hell I went through. But I decided, no, I have had dating experiences, where these guys were just normal and genuine and they were real.
Right.
So this one person is not going to change my mind towards the myriad of good men that are actually out there. Yeah, and I took one for the team too. Like when I say I went through hell, that's an understatement. I went through it.
Yeah.
Almost lost my mind.
Yeah. It's crazy.